and we are live. So hold on, people. I'm just sharing some information so more people have access to this. So please hold on. All right, let's see. HTTP bit.ly/10K water live. All right. That is going to take them to it. That's going to take them to the place where it's streaming live on a Facebook page.
Okay.
So you can share that.
Okay.
So as Michael does that and is sharing, I wanted to welcome everyone to another Google Hangout. You know why we're here. It's to raise money through Charity Water, and this campaign is specifically for Orissa, India. One of the things I love to say is that we're getting two things done at the same time. There's caring for the people in the water, and as well as really bringing the different entrepreneurs here, we're also helping our audience. So helping our peeps at the same time. So it's Q&A. It's nothing that's planned, so we're kind of relaxed a little bit. We do have we have Kim here with us. So Kim, if you have a question for Michael, we are ready to roll. Okay,
sounds great. They're kind of general questions. I didn't know exactly what the format was going to be like and how many people were going to be on. I'm starting a new business, or I'm thinking about it, and it's going to be based in simplicity. But right now it's brand new. I haven't really reached out to a whole lot of people. I'm trying to narrow down the niche a little bit, and I didn't know how much I needed to do that, because right now I'm kind of offering things from photography to just simplifying your home and simplifying your life and work, and didn't know if I should niche it down a little bit more.
Sure. Well, first of all, hi.
Hi.
I love this format. It's great. And I love what you're doing here, Mike. I think it's so important, so fantastic, and more than anything, I have to comment on your bow tie because it's fabulous.
Thank you.
I'm not looking down, I'm just looking at you guys at the bottom here. But I know you're up here. So yeah, so it's a great question. There's a couple things to think about. I like to make a distinction between target market and niche. They're often conflated. But a target market is the group of people or businesses that you serve. It's a demographic.
Mm-hmm.
The niche is the area of specialty that you bring to them. It's what you get known for. And it's important to think about them separately, I believe, because you want to have a very clear target market so that when you do your marketing, you know where to go and do your marketing.
Right.
Number two, when you show up there, they know that you're dedicated to them. And number three, they already have established networks of communication, meaning they're already talking to each other. So they'll spread your messages for you. And then, in terms of this sort of niche, this area of specialty, if you do a lot of different things, we all do a lot of different things, in our generation. I'm older than you, but still I can kind of get into that generation. Love it. There's all sorts of different interests we have, and we've had probably lots of different jobs and training and experience, and that's a modern concept. But people still buy from the person that is an absolute expert or master in one particular domain. Okay. So if you're promoting that you do photography and home organization and landscaping, I'm just making that up, and sushi, you teach how to make sushi, and I go, jack of all trades, master of none. Because I want to find the person that is dedicated to someone just like me, meaning your work is all for me in my target market, and what you provide, you are masterful in, and it solves a problem for me. So that kind of clarity is really, really important. And sometimes people think, well, if I choose, this very specific target market, then that limits me. There won't be enough clients. Yeah. And then they also think, well, if I choose to offer one thing, that will limit me because maybe people want other things. Of course they do. And there'll be lots of people that you won't serve because they're not in your target market, and there'll be lots of people that want photography, but you're not offering photography, you do something else. That's fine, because if you think about how many clients do you need to be booked solid? How many clients do you need to be booked solid?
Well, it's hard to say because I haven't really defined it yet, since like I said, I kind of offer a little bit too much right now, and I think it's partially just building on the strengths that I already have and
Sure.
trying to put it together. But then, like you said, it's not a clear message for people,
Yeah.
and I understand that. So.
Well, so I guess my point is that let's say you needed to 20 clients a month, and in your target market there were 20,000 people, right? That should not be a problem. So narrowing down never hurts. It's interesting. One of my elite level certified book yourself solid coaches, named Anna Malikian, has a great analogy that she uses for this. A lot of times people think, well, if I narrow down and I get really clear and specific, then I'll be like in a box, And she says, okay, well, now just imagine, take yourself out of the box, put the box over here, now stand on top of the box. That's what having a target market does for you. You now have a platform. And very specific people will pay attention to you. They'll want to stand on that platform, stand on that foundation with you. So it's a long answer to an important question. But there's a number of pieces in that question, and for all of us, that simplicity and clarity is very important.
Yeah, and I guess that's part of why I felt like I could use it as the big umbrella, and then kind of delve deeper depending on what different clients needed. But then I didn't know if that was, specific enough. Just having the simplicity as my sort of idea.
Sure.
To offer.
And look, there are basically two different ways that a service business builds. Sorry, the gardeners just got here. Speaking of landscaping, they start with the buzzing around. I'm telling you, whoever creates a silent lawnmower, the kind they sit on and drive, and a silent weed whacker will be a gazillionaire. I'm surprised Dyson hasn't done this. Because it just makes no sense how much noise these characters make on these machines.
Yeah.
So, and probably how much they pollute the environment. There's gas machines. So. There are two ways a service business generally builds. One, you pick a target market, you bring them a particular service, and this service is your signature service. And once you become bringing them other products and services, because they already trust you, and they'll say, well, she can do this, I'm sure she can also do that. So you can grow that way.
Okay.
Or you pick a target market, you bring a particular product or service, and you make it your signature service product. And once you get booked up, once you do well with that target market, you can start to bring it to other verticals, which are other target markets that are similar to that one, in that they have the same problem that needs to be solved with the same solution. But success begets success. You say, look, I've successfully delivered this in this market. You guys need it too, and they'll let you into their market.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's always sort of been two of my challenges, defining the target market and then also finding them. But I guess once you define it, finding them is going to be a little bit clearer.
Finding them is really easy once you define them, because groups of people hang out in the same places. They read the same publications. They are in the same social networks online. They go to the same conferences. They work together different ways, So they'll spread your messages really easy. This is a litmus test. One of the ways that you can determine whether or not you have a target market is by trying to find these networks. And if you can't find them, they don't exist, then you probably don't have a target market.
Okay.
You can say, well, no, they're all on social media. Right? That's not a target market, They have to be congregating specifically in some way.
Okay. So with this kind of business, are you saying that, because I see your thing to develop a personal brand, and I watched you on Creative Live, which you were awesome, by the way. It's one of the best things that I've seen. Cool. But I didn't initially start this as to wanting to develop kind of a brand based around me. It was more just wanting to help people in a certain way. Is there still a way to, build the business without having to be huge on social media and all that?
Oh yeah, well, so a personal brand identity and social media are not. to build a personal brand identity, you don't also have to be on those social platforms. A personal brand identity is simply this. It's simply a clarification of who you serve and what you help them achieve and what you stand for, why you do this work. Why do you want to be in service of these people? That's what that's about. And this way people get to know you in that regard. They can spread that message for you.
Okay.
But you don't have to be on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. You don't have to be in all those places. Again, you don't need 250,000 clients right now. So there's no obligation to be on those platforms. Now, people who, that's what teach those, platforms, they're like social media experts. That's what they do. They'll tell you have to be on those platforms, and if you're not, you're a loser, and life will end as you know it. And, you'll never make any money in your entire life. And that's baloney. Fundamentally, there are going to be a small handful of people who will send you business. There'll be other professionals who respect what you do and know people who need what you offer, and your clients. And so you can spend most of your time creating deep and meaningful relationships with people who have this kind of influence in your target market, rather than spending all your time writing pithy statements on Twitter or just, retweeting other people's quotes or whatever it is. Okay. And so for me, if you're going to use those platforms, I think those platforms can be fantastic. I'm not saying don't use them. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with them. I'm just saying we're not obligated in any way to be on those at any particular time. I've got, 11,000 followers on Twitter or something, and, I probably could have 100,000 if I did something with it. But I'll go in once in a while and make some tweets, hi, whatever. I don't think I've been in there in 3 weeks. I have clients, right? So I just don't think you're obligated. And I know personally, I don't want to live a life where I'm obligated to be on a social platform every day of the week.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you're going to pick, if you're going to start with these platforms, pick one and really focus on that. Mm-hmm. I'd rather see you just on one, doing a good job of creating a small community, than on all of these platforms with no real significant presence. That takes away from your credibility.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to narrow it down because too many was too much.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and I liked your idea of the networking and having the list of, was it 90 and then...
Yeah. This idea of the network of 90 and the list of 20.
Oh, there we go.
I know they're silly names, but the idea is I sort of use it network of 90 because it rhymes, but really, you think about this. If you introduce 2 people every day who do not yet know each other but might find each other relevant, if you share some information with at least 2 people a day, information that's relevant, that's not necessarily something you created but that you've seen or found, and you share some compassion with at least 1 person each day, that's 100 people a month you're staying in contact with. Do you think you'd be book solid if you stayed in contact with 100 people a month that were influential in your field? Of course. And then the list of 20, this idea that, look, there are people that you want to meet that you do not yet know, but if you do know, they probably have a positive influence on your business. And you should go about trying to meet 1 of them a day. That's it. It's really that simple. Now, it's scary because, social media is easy because you can hide behind Twitter or Facebook and just put stuff out there. Well, maybe somebody will share it. Mm-hmm. Oh, cool, I got like 10 likes on this picture that I put up. But really developing deeper relationships with people and reaching out to people that you do not yet know but would like to know, that's scarier because you can be rejected. Mm-hmm. But that's where the work comes. I always say that your business, the level of business that you've achieved is often a direct proportion with how much responsibility you think you can handle at this point in your life. Now, that's not true for the very brand new business owner because they're just starting, right? But if you've been in business for a while and you're not progressing, it might be because I can't handle more than this. That's what you might feel. And the same thing is true with respect to meeting other people. If you feel like too nervous to meet other people or you're not willing to take that chance, then your business is just going to stay where it is. And that's all you can handle right now. That's fine. But if you want to build something bigger, then you're going to have to consider what it means, for you to take to build up the courage to go out and meet some new people. I'm not saying that's your situation at all, but in general, that's what I see often.
Okay.
And Michael, one of the questions we have here is around meeting new people and how you introduce yourself to people. I know it's something that you have a very good system for that, one that I love and I personally use and tell other people and give you credit at the same time.
No credit necessary.
Get the book if you want more details. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think that we should do away with the concept of the 30-second pitch. Because pitching something to somebody when you just meet them is an inorganic way of developing a real relationship with somebody. So what we want to do is this crazy thing, and I know you're going to have to put your thinking caps on for this one because it's very intellectual and kind of difficult to understand, but I'll do my best in explaining it. You want to have this really crazy thing called the conversation. Now, I know that's very complicated, and maybe we've forgotten how to do that, but when you meet somebody and somebody says, what do? You might say, well, I'm a this. Let's say you're a lawyer. I'm a lawyer who helps these people do this. Great, I get it. And if I'm interested in that concept, I'll ask more. And if I'm not, that's it. So you're not going to force, more on me, I would hope. Not. But the conversation may arise from that because the person says, oh, that's very interesting. My sister's going through something like that right now. Oh, no kidding. Is she having this issue or this issue, etc.? That's exactly right. Well, that's what I do. I help produce that particular result. But the beauty is you get that result, and these are the benefits from a financial, emotional, physical, spiritual perspective, etc., whatever is most relevant. And you can have that conversation in 3 seconds, 30 seconds, 3 minutes, 3 hours. It doesn't matter. Because that's how people engage with each other. They develop relationships over time. And the important information about yourself will come out over time. Are you single or in a relationship?
And who are you talking to?
I was talking to, I don't know your name, but you have the earpieces in. You've asked me the questions before.
That's Kim.
Kim.
Oh yeah, but that question wasn't mine. But I don't.
No, I was just asking you to give it to you as an example.
Yeah, I'm in a relationship.
Okay, so when you first met your partner, if on the first date, if they had started going on this like laundry list of all the things that they've done in their life, and they shared every detail about their childhood and why they were awesome in high school, and you'd be like, okay, that's just too much, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just too much. And you'd move on. But you learn things about people over time. Mm-hmm. And so I often only half joke that the Book Yourself Solid marketing system is based on the concept of dating. Because, if you think about it, all we're doing is developing relationships. And everyone knows how to do that. I shouldn't say everyone, but most people know how to do that. And if you feel like, I've made friends over the years, I have relationships with people, then you should feel comfortable knowing that you can market in a way that is appropriate, all that's necessary to get clients for a service-based business. Because you just look at it as a relationship development process, and you see, here's the thing. Let's say you're into bowling, okay? You're a big bowler, and you go bowling every week. Well, when you go to the bowling alley, you meet some other bowlers and you chat. I'm like, hey, what's up? Cool. Then you see him a couple weeks later. Hey, how are you? Talk a little bit more. But you're not anxious about it. You're not. It's just, hey, some bowlers, cool. Maybe we'll be friends. And then you develop a friendship and you start bowling together. And then you travel to bowling events together, right? But what happens is when we start thinking about meeting somebody for business purposes, we get all nervous about it and anxious about it. And what are they going to think? And what should I say? And I don't want to say the wrong thing. And as opposed to, oh, hey, you like bowling also? Cool. What kind of ball do you like to bowl with? It's the same exact thing, but for some reason we put them in different categories.
One thing I see, Michael, I think is I spend a lot of time helping people prepare for conferences, how to network at conferences, and one thing is the thought of this is one shot. This is my one shot.
Right.
I think that's the mentality that comes up. So there isn't that. Hey, you know what? Next week we're going to talk about bowling, because this is my one shot at this conference, which is different from a networking event, a local event.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you're a perfect example of this. And anybody that needs help learning how to network at conferences should go to you, because I'm here now because why? I met you at a conference.
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, that dude is cool. And of course, every single person mentions your bow tie, right?
Yes.
Yes. So you'll always remember, oh yeah, Mike, the guy with the bow tie. So these little tiny personal brand accoutrement, so to speak.
Oh, that's a good one, accoutrement. Gotta write that down.
They are what people will remember. It's like Seth Godin. He wears purple glasses, yellow glasses. You always think of his glasses when you think of him. Both of us are bald, but you're not going to think of me with glasses. I mean, I have them on now, but that's not a brand identity thing.
Right.
So sometimes those little tiny flares help people remember you, because you're amplifying your personality. See, what's interesting is that sometimes people think they have to somehow be different in order to have a compelling personal brand, or for people to notice them. And they try to figure out, like, well, what can I do to be different? How can I stand out?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to thinking, how can I be more fully self-expressed? How can I be more myself? Because ultimately that is where you're going to be most comfortable, and that's what's going to be most attractive and compelling about you. So you've heard me tell the donkey, old man, and little boy story, I'm sure.
Yes.
But it represents this concept, and if you've heard it before, you'll probably enjoy hearing it again. And if you've never heard it before, you'll get exactly what I'm talking about, because there's an Aesop's fable that I embellish a little bit, and it's about an old man, a little boy, and a donkey, and they want to go to town. Now, they've never been to town. They've been talking about going to town for years, but they've never been, and this is like their version of being booked solid. It's their dream. Mm-hmm. Something inspires them to go. Maybe they saw a program with you, Mike, and they go, oh my God, I'm inspired. I want to go to town. So they do. They off they go. But they start with the old man riding the donkey and the little boy's walking next to the donkey. And now past some people, and these people shamed the old man. They said, old man, that's inappropriate. How can you make a little boy walk like that? And immediately he got off the horse. They started talking about it. It took a lot of time, a lot of wasted time. But they came up with another solution. They thought people would think that was okay. A little boy got on the donkey, and the old man walked next to the donkey, and off they went. Well, they passed some more people who shamed them and said, little boy, how could you make an old man walk? Immediately the boy gets off the donkey. He says, I'm a horrible person. I did wrong. And they talked. They wasted more time. But they found another solution that they thought would please people. So they both got on the donkey. Now, they're on their way, but they passed more people. And these people really shamed them and said, that's inhumane. How could you put such a load on a donkey? Immediately they got off. They talked. They tried to figure it out. They knew that they were terrible people, but they needed a way to please the people around them. So they came up with another solution, and they decided, well, let's walk next to the donkey. They felt so much better. They made a decision. We'll make people happy. And off they go. Well, now they passed people who laughed at them and said, look at those idiots. They have a perfectly good donkey, and they're walking next to it. What is wrong with that? Immediately, they stopped. They recognized they were idiots. They wanted to figure out another way to go, because obviously this displeased people. Maybe they could please people if they found the right way. So they both got on the donkey. They said, they said, we went on the donkey, we walked next to the donkey, one of us was on, one of us was off. Well, I guess the only thing left to do is to carry the donkey. So they do. They pick up the donkey, they carry the donkey, and now they're about to get to town. They finally got there. And they have to cross a bridge, which is over water. And as they're crossing this bridge, the donkey slips out of their hands, falls into the river, and drowns. And the moral of the story is, if you try to please everyone, you might as well kiss your ass goodbye.
That's right.
So the question is, are you trying to produce results, or are you looking for approval? Which is more important?
That's a great question.
And
Hey,
so,
Michael, we have.
so when you are fully self-expressed, that's when you're interesting. When you amplify your personality, that's when you're interesting. And that's when the people you're meant to serve pay attention to you.
Thank you for that. We have one last question for you. And this one comes via text from Nina. I'll read it to you, or you can read it along the side I put for Michael. Can you see that one?
From Nina. Not sure if you guys had talked about it already. I'm joining late. Here's my cue for Michael. I do work with a lot of startups and entrepreneurs that are often intimidated by what other businesses are doing, and often say, I can't market myself like they do because I'm lacking reach, budget, voice, etc. How would you address this? Well, it's an interesting question, Nina, and it speaks to what we've been talking about. This idea that you don't have to use social media the way everybody's using social media. You don't have to dress the way everybody else dresses. You don't have to behave the way anybody else behaves. If you try to please everyone, you might as well kiss your ass goodbye. So market the way you want to market, wear what you want to wear, talk about the things you want to talk about. As long as these things are relevant to the people you're meant to serve, they are your ideal clients inside your target market. If the parts of yourself that you amplify are relevant to them, well, then they will pay attention, because all marketing is an exercise in trying to create awareness. And if somebody becomes aware of you, they'll check you out. Now, what happens at that point, all the way up until the time they buy, that's where the real work is done. The marketing part, that's easy. That's not hard. And yes, you can't look at somebody that already has reach and say, well, they've got 1 million people following them on Twitter, or they have 1 million newsletter subscribers, and think you're going to do exactly what they do. You got to look, what did they do when they started? Maybe some of those things are interesting to me, maybe they're not. I will look at what's interesting, and I will see, how does it apply to me in the way that I want to behave in the world? So we don't just copy, we try to absorb, we try to understand the context behind what other people are doing successfully, and then see what, if any, applies to what we want to do. And that's just critical thinking. That's all that is.
Excellent. Well, we have come to the end of our time together. I know it's brief, but Michael, I appreciate you taking the time to do that. We have a thanks so much from Nina in the chat area there. So thank you, Nina. Thank you, Kim, for being here, and thank you for the reason we're here, which is to help raise money for the Charity Water event, 10K on 10/1. So fantastic. You all have a great day.
And if I go over to the bit.ly link up there, I will be able to donate some money.
Yes, the bit.ly link for you, I'll put it down here, that you want to just go to. It's bit.ly/10K for water.
Cool. Got it. Thanks.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay.
Thanks. You
Bye,
too.
you guys too.